I was young, life was effortless. My father had money, so I never had to worry. If I wanted something, I only had to ask, and it was mine. I never studied seriously, never worked a day in my life, and never once thought about the future. My friends talked about their dreams, their goals, their struggles, but I simply laughed. "You should think about your future," one of them once told me. I shrugged. Why should I? My father takes care of everything. For years, I lived without a single concern. I traveled to beautiful places, bought expensive clothes, and attended extravagant parties. It felt like a perfect life, one that I believed would last forever. But life had other plans. The fall. One evening, my father called me into his office. His usual confident demeanor was gone. He looked exhausted, his face lined with stress I had never noticed before. "We need to talk," he said, his voice heavy. "Our business is in trouble. Things are not as they used to be." I frowned. "What do you mean? We're fine, right?" He let out a weary sigh. "No, son, we're not. I made bad investments. I thought I could fix things, but now we're losing everything." At first, I refused to believe it. Losing everything? That was impossible. We had always been rich. Money was never a problem, but within months, my illusion shattered. The expensive cars disappeared. The grand house was sold. I stood by helplessly as strangers walked through our home, bidding on the furniture and possessions that had once felt like permanent fixtures of my life. I still remember the moment reality truly hit me. One day, I walked into my favorite boutique, picking out a designer jacket without a second thought. When I reached the counter, I handed over my father's credit card, just like always. The cashier swiped it once, then again. She frowned. "I'm sorry, sir. Your card has been declined." The words made my stomach drop. Declined. That had never happened before. Embarrassed, I hurried out of the store, my face burning with shame. That was the moment I realized the truth. I wasn't rich anymore. Then came the worst part. My father's health began to fail. The stress, the weight of his mistakes, the guilt of not securing our future, it all broke him. The man who had once been my shield now needed help himself, and that's when it hit me. I had nothing. No skills, no experience, no understanding of how the world really worked, the real world. For the first time in my life, I had to find a job. It was humiliating. I had always seen work as something others did, something beneath me. But now, I was the one filling out applications, sitting through interviews, and getting rejection after rejection. Eventually, I landed a job at a small cafe. It was far from glamorous. I was neither the owner nor the boss, just another worker, wiping tables and taking orders from impatient customers. The first few weeks were brutal. My feet ached, my back hurt, and every day I longed for the comfort of my old life, but I had no choice. Slowly, something changed. I started observing the people around me, those who had worked hard all their lives. They weren't rich, but they had something I had never possessed: resilience. They knew how to stand on their own, to build a life with their own hands. One evening, after a long shift, I sat outside the cafe, exhausted. That was when I met Lucas, a regular customer. He had been watching me for a while. "You know," he said, sipping his coffee, "when you first started here, you looked lost, like someone who didn't belong." I chuckled bitterly. "That's because I didn't. I never thought I'd be doing this." Lucas smiled. "But now you're here. You're working. You're learning. And that means you're growing." His words struck something deep inside me. A year ago, I wouldn't have imagined myself studying, working, or even caring about my future. But now I did. I had enrolled in night classes, determined to earn a degree. I had started saving, not for luxury, but for security. For the first time, I wasn't relying on anyone else. I was standing on my own feet. The realization. One day, I visited my father. He now lived in a small apartment, a shadow of the man he once was. But he was still my father. "I'm proud of you," he said softly. "I thought I was protecting you by giving you everything. But real protection would have been teaching you how to stand on your own. I failed you in that." I smiled. "It took me a while, but I finally understand. Life isn't about waiting for things to come to you. It's about going out there and making something for yourself." As I left his apartment, I felt something I had never felt before: purpose. I used to think that money was everything, that comfort and luxury meant success. But now I knew the truth. The real measure of a person isn't what they own. It's what they can do, what they can build, and how they face life when everything is taken. Now, when I hear someone say, "Why should I worry about the future?" I smile and shake my head, because I know the answer. Life can change in an instant, and the things we take for granted today may not be there tomorrow. Never rely on someone else's success to secure your future. Learn, grow, and prepare yourself for whatever may come. True security doesn't come from wealth. It comes from the skills, knowledge, and determination you build along the way. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Your support means the world to me.